What a wonderful day!
What a wonderful day!
Are we thankful for the words of Caesar?
We are thankful.
Do we bend our heads?
We bend.
Say his words.
Apes together.
Say his words! What a wonderful day!
Welcome to Apes Cast 4. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy. I'm here with my co-host, Scott Keith. We've done Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape for the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, and we've also done Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, and
now we're here for 2001's Planet of the
Apes. No,
there have been some retrospectives and reappraisals of that.
No, there's no retrospectives, no reappraisals. It's just crap, except for the costuming, which we've discussed. If you are here and you've listened to all those episodes, congrats. You've made it. You've caught up. We're here with Wes Ball's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The 10th, if you count Burton's film in the in the Planet of the Apes franchise.
What a wonderful day. I've been making a point to let everybody know in my life that I've seen all 10 Planet of the Apes movies. It's a point I'm proud of for no reason. It just means I've spent 20 plus hours of my life, realistically more because I've rewatched some of them several times. And what a wonderful day, because I mean, when was the last time we did a new release on here? I can't even remember.
Yeah, we've cut down on newer releases, but you know, it's a new Planet of the Apes. I feel like it's apt.
It's a sunk cost. We've stuck money into this banana hole. Does that even make sense?
I don't know. And
I've got my Coke Zero in a glass, and
yeah, I got mine in a glass too. We're rocking and rolling.
Simps.
Pimpin'
for chimpin'.
The best thing though is like this new one coming out is like I've seen on film Twitter. Everyone has been trying to catch up. Everyone's either rewatching the newer trilogy or watching the newer trilogy for the first time. We've had like an influx of new cinephiles discovering the old movies because of this one coming out. It's been a great time to be an Apes fan, and most importantly, the fact that we have a 10-year-old villain, Koba, from the second of the reboot trilogy become a huge meme on the internet is just great to see, because I always found Koba to be really cool, and I always found that line, Koba, Caesar weak, Koba weaker, to be like one of the hardest exchanges in blockbuster history. So to see that celebrated on the internet this past week or two has been awesome.
It's been cool. My roommate, who's not he's not a cinephile. He also likes to talk and joke and during movies when I'm trying to watch it. That's why I don't watch movies with him. He's like analyzing the realism of some of the stuff in War for Planet of the Apes we were watching the other night, and I was like, it's talking monkeys, dude. Yeah, we know that like the lasers on the guns, you can only see them if you have like the goggle if you're the soldier, but it's a movie and it looks cool. So
right, yeah.
Friggin' redneck. And then I showed my parents on Mother's Day. Nobody was doing anything. People were just sitting around. So I just put on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and like forced my family to watch it. They got into it. They were into it. They were watching. My mom kept asking questions the whole time. She did that thing where a character was on screen for the first time and she was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "I don't watch the movie." It's that thing where you have to explain to an old woman like how time works. Well, you should know, you've been around longer than me. It was fun though. I like exposing people to apes. I like talking about apes. I like making.
I like when apes expose themselves to people. No, but we're pro ape on this show.
You're too pro ape.
Debatable.
I don't know if I'm pro ape. Damn dirty apes.
Dr. Zayas.
Anyway. What were your thoughts going into this movie?
My thoughts were, I was glad that it was a time jump, at least 300 years. and I was hoping, well, I was wondering what they could do new after all of these different films, especially when we're still in this timeline where there's no mystery of like what planet is this? You know, obviously that's only true for the first one, but like it's not an alien feeling planet yet. It's not so far gone that it feels like a whole different realm. So,
But there is an otherness to it,
yeah, sure.
that decayed beauty.
I do like that.
Um, and it's far enough in the future where the apes, such as Noah's tribe, are trying to figure out, what happened. Because apparently they're one of the tribes, apparently near where Caesar was, but not of the same tribe, I don't believe. So they don't have writing, so they haven't been able to transmit all this knowledge. Uh, so their tribe isn't even fully aware of what humans are. They're calling them echoes, which is an interesting thing. They think they're like evil echoes of ape culture.
Yeah.
Walking into this, okay, let me get this out of the way.
Yeah.
Is Wes Ball is going to direct the Zelda movie. I'm a huge Zelda guy. Zelda might be my favorite media franchise of all time. Period. So I tried to put that aside the best I can. The first act of this movie, first 30, 45 minutes, I really had to suppress those thoughts the entire time of seeing Noah ride off into the city and be like, okay, would look good in a Zelda movie, stuff like that, And so it put me in a weird headspace. I think I had more of a mixed reaction than you did, especially coming out of the theater. I've softened a bit on it because a lot of my nitpicks are just nitpicks. There's some not plot holes, but some plot contrivances or just sort of logic things that really don't matter. But you're shaking your head no.
No, they don't.
They matter a little. Stuff can matter
To me, not really.
if it takes you out of the movie.
I'm someone who enjoys Beneath the Planet of the Apes and Escape for the Planet of the Apes and Conquest more than I like War for the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Just because I like B movie fun, stupid, insane kind of stuff. Schlock, but good schlock. And I respect War for the Planet of the Apes being like this auteur, insane, awesome, well-directed film, but at the end of the day, I like
you like Koba riding guns, dual wielding machine guns.
yeah, that's why the middle film is my favorite. Also, I like the conflict between him and Koba, like the first canonical ape versus ape schism in the universe.
Yeah, ape kills ape. Ape must not kill ape. And I rewatched Dawn and War this weekend, like I mentioned, and I might switch my opinion on Dawn and War. I liked War more originally because it was, like you said, is just different. It was not a typical Hollywood movie, which I really appreciated. But I don't know, on a rewatch, Dawn is more fun on a rewatch, I would say, because War, the novelty, but Dawn has so many cool set pieces and stuff that I can just watch repeatedly. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Of So, but both those movies are good. I like Rise. I would put this movie. I'm not going to rank the whole series right now. I do really like the originals. I like the first and maybe Escape are my favorites. And I would probably put this around Rise. Around that level.
Yeah, totally.
Which seems to be a lot of the critical consensus, I feel. And I'm judging based on Metascore and Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah, my favorite three, my top three would be the original, then Dawn, and then Escape, and then after that would be Conquest, and just because of some of the things I like that were fresh in this movie were just more interesting to me than 1 and 3 of the reboot trilogy. So I do like this one more than 2 out of the 3 of the reboots, but I'm the outlier, I think, in there, and I'm fine with saying
I think you are, but that's legitimate. what was fresh to this movie? Because again, this is the 10th goddamn Apes movie.
I know. Well, what I
Like,
liked is that,
and the
like,
fact that it does feel pretty fresh is impressive. Go on.
I like that it really takes its time at the beginning to show this tribe and how they operate and their culture. They're an eagle tribe. That's not something we'd seen before. And the whole like opening 10 minutes of the movie are these three apes trying to get their egg for their ceremony and stuff. That was all cool to me. And I like that we progressed enough to where there's completely different tribes far away from each other that are like one doesn't even know about humans. The other one is ruled by Proximus Caesar and like
Yeah.
their whole
And we're
pipe.
getting, by the way, just in case you're new to this channel or you're watching, we're getting into spoiler territory right now.
Yeah,
We're
there's
going to
nothing
be
to-
talking about this movie. Nothing new, but if you just clicked on this wanting to see a couple bros talking about a new movie, just letting you know.
Yeah, totally. And I like that the it was fresh to me while also hitting certain classic beats of some of the originals. Like I felt instances from the original film for the first time since forever. Like this is the first new Apes film, if you don't count Tim Burton, that really hit that like um sequence of apes hunting humans on horseback since like the original. And it did it in a different way with a different setup, which I did like. And there was like I felt some of that battle, the fifth film, I felt some of that in there where humans aren't completely uh far
Brain
gone
dead.
yet. Some
Yeah.
of them talk, some of them have a say so on what they think is right for their humanity. So it's kind of similar in that way. But it also feels like a little bit it feels like it pulls from those and it also feels like it pulls from, the prequel trilogy that it comes from, while also saying, okay, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to have pretty much Noah go on this like solo adventure, and then he meets a new ape, and then the new ape has kind of an understanding of Caesar. But even then, I like that that's muddled. He's not even sure fully about the world that Caesar came from. Like he doesn't realize that humans were always oppressors and rulers and smarter. So
Yeah, he
um,
doesn't really he's living in an airport when we see him, but he doesn't really understand what the building was for. He thought it was used to like house or even educate humans, right?
yeah.
He didn't even know about air travel or anything.
I like that the apes have advanced enough to where they can talk a little more coherently and they're a little more elevated. They ride horses differently. They're not as straight from the zoo, It's a nice change. It's a freshening up, definitely. And I like Rocco a lot. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Rocco the orangutan. Yeah, orangutans, except for that Bible thumping Dr. Zayas, are the bros in these movies.
Yeah.
In these new movies.
They're always coming up with like cool new ape personalities, I feel like, and Rocco like takes it in this for me.
Yeah, because you have Virgil and Battle. Battle is toward the bottom for me. Battle's a snooze fest. It's a battle for mainly, and especially when we watch that extended cut that you have where the battle scene just drags on. I think they add like 3 minutes. It feels like 15 minutes.
It's so funny to me.
It's nothing's happening. It's just people walking toward each other and explosive charges going off from the pyrotechnics.
It's apes running with machine guns shooting.
It is, yeah, but they're not shooting. They're just like shooting. I don't know.
Things are blowing
It's
up.
like Revolutionary War tactics.
Yeah, I like it. It's more interesting than like Transformers shit.
Yeah,
I like that. I also like that that one ties into the bomb from the second one and all that, so it really makes it like a full loop pretty
no,
much.
the way it does a full loop is cool. If you want to see a good video of the actor from Virgil, he shows up on Johnny Carson, and he didn't have time to get out of his makeup because shooting was late, so he's like singing on Johnny Carson in the makeup and like talking and making jokes, and he's just and smoking because you could do that on TV. And he's smoking. And he's like, "This is 8 months of nothing but banana daiquiris," just talking. Like, I don't know.
Dude, that blew my mind when you sent that. I had no idea that existed.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. I recommend that. But we're not here to talk about all the old movies. Obviously, we'll be going back into that. Noah's character to me, he's a lot more I guess your classic movie protagonist, almost like a Luke Skywalker, in the sense that he's from the small community. He gets the call to adventure. He has to leave his community, kind of like Link in the Legend of Zelda. Um, and he goes out, and he loses all of his innocence, which is definitely different. I mean, Caesar loses in his innocence. Caesar is still the goat ape to me. I mean, he's Caesar. Even this movie lives in his shadow somewhat, but he's such a good goddamn character, Caesar.
Yeah, so
Um,
badass.
yeah, he's honestly one of my favorite movie characters. And watching this, not that I didn't like this or didn't like the characters in it, but watching this really made me think like, okay, the writers and Andy Serkis really brought Caesar to life as like a full-blooded character, as complex as any human character I've seen in movies.
Especially it's crazy. I was watching behind the scenes of Rise before before he talks. He spends the whole movie not saying anything. So I'm watching the scenes between Serkis and James Franco, and it's all just movement and expression. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Not even having dialogue to go off
I
of.
was talking. I didn't push back on it, but I was talking to, and you do owe a lot to the VFX artists. VFX artists are not in these performances. They do add a lot. It's not just digital makeup, as it's been called. And makeup artists also do a lot. But I was talking a couple nights ago with my roommates about war, and I commented like how challenging or how interesting it must have been for the actors to have to do all this, and they almost had the idea like it would be easier to act like apes like this, and I was kind of like, I really think the margin of error for making your performance cheesy is very thin. You really have to do your body work and your physical work, or whatever actors call it, and figure all that out and match it. And again, the VFX artists help a lot. But and that's one thing. There's no big names in this movie except William H. Macy shows up later
Yeah,
in the movie. I was like, oh hey, William
but
H.
that's
Macy.
like in the last act. So it's like
It's
for
about halfway through.
for most of it, it's just I'm
It's
delighted
unknowns.
that modern audiences can just sit and watch apes do their thing and not have to feel like, well, I mean, they like Avatar too. Avatar is one of the biggest movies in the world, and that's nearly an animated film. And this is, I like that
Yeah,
the
that,
backgrounds they photographed. I think it was in Australia or somewhere,
mhm.
but I like that they had to think through all of the real shots and how they would composite the apes into the
Right,
movie.
because there's a lot of compositing. I mean, they shoot some stuff on location, I think, but there's also a lot of that Avatar digital set, completely digital set sort of thing that they go through. And this movie on the whole, it has, because it's post apocalyptic and you have the feeling the world's recovered much, greenery has overgrown the cities. It is more colorful. And this is a Disney movie now. This is the post Fox acquisition. Um, I would say this is a more colorful movie. How do you feel about the VFX in this movie compared to the
I
other?
think the VFX hold up just fine. I wouldn't say it's like as shocking as War for the Planet of the Apes, but I think
I still think War, because it's so
yeah,
grounded is more. Also, you have more apes talking complete sentences,
yeah.
and
So it's gonna be
other
more uncanny
it's
anyway.
going to be more uncanny. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in the first scene, which I was fine with it because, I know enough about movies and animation to not be like, oh, this one doesn't look as good as the old one. I just think it's a brighter movie. So, a lot of the details stand out. It's gonna make those discrepancies pop. But the animation's as good as ever. We get a nice little character building moment at the beginning with Noah. You kind of know exactly Noah exactly who he is. Um, when he goes to the highest tower to get that last eagle egg, you know,
Yeah, he's
you,
determined.
yeah, you meet like, okay, he's innocent, he's young, and he's kind of headstrong but determined.
We also
Um,
realize like he's got some shit to prove because his dad is kind of a asshole to him and like treats
yeah,
his.
is his dad an asshole? You think?
I think yeah, I think you see kind of like some hesitance between him and his father. there's something there. We don't get to see it because he
We don't get to
dies.
see it. I get the sense it's like people who have military dads or who are preacher kids. They just have high expectations put on them.
Yeah,
It's not toxic necessarily, but his dad controls the Eagles, so he has an important, almost shamanistic role in the society. So
yeah.
there's just a lot of pressure on Noah. You know, um,
I love that it was brighter colors. It's really, I feel like we're starting to come out of that gray, muted, yellow, muted kind of.
it worked for those movies.
Yeah, no, I get it, but just like blockbusters in general in the 2010s had that issue of like gray and
They
just
did.
sluggy
You can maybe
colors.
blame Nolan's Batman for that.
Yeah,
Although
so
it makes sense because it's Batman. I don't want a bright, colorful, cheery Adam West Batman necessarily.
no, I get that. There are some beautiful, colorful shots in The Dark Knight, though.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking more. I don't know, just like think of Shang-Chi. I know that's technically a 2020s movie, but like how gross it
Oh, toward the
looks
end, that
at the
third act
end.
battle, yeah, it was a bunch of I
Or
gobbledygook.
just when, yeah, when your eyes just
There
glaze
was something
over.
with a dragon, and he was fighting his dad or his dad's
Who
enemy.
knows? Who cares? Um, but yeah, I do like that setup. And what I like is that sequence when he comes back and the whole village is being burned down and attacked and raided. And we get some pretty interesting changes in the action blocking from the last ones. It's kind of like very fluid going around, running around with Noah as he's trying to manage what the hell is going on. And it's really frantic, but also very smooth.
It works really well, and that's a long ass tracking shot
Yeah.
because of, and they're able to do that because I'm pretty sure it's a digital set, or at least a mostly digital
Yeah.
set. Um, so it doesn't call attention to itself too much, I think, and it works. I used to be more impressed with long takes for long takes sake. Um, Now I'm always asking myself, what is the point of this other than the director or cinematographer showing off that they can coordinate all this for a long take? And I think it's able to, without a bunch of quick cuts, get you chaos, because I think that's one thing you could do is have a bunch of quick cuts to show chaos. But this lets you show in a more fluid manner establish the space, and then also travel along with Noah as new elements of the battle for the village of the apes pop up. And so it is kind of a long subjective shot in that way.
Yeah.
So you really get to see the chaos from his perspective.
I just remember I watched some movie 10 years ago that was like the whole movie was one long or not unbroken. Like it wasn't digitally stitched together. It was actually one long take. And it's called Russian Ark. And it was really boring. And it's
It's a
like, I'd much prefer like simulated one shots like 1917. That's like, okay, it's a series of like really long 6 to 8 minute takes, but like stitched together, it works. Doesn't have to be like just because you have that gimmick doesn't mean shit.
right, because this is filmmaking at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
Alfonso Cuarón, he can do it. He does it well. But I agree, the when I was 17, that really impressed me. And it works here, but doing it for
Totally.
its sake now, it's just bragging.
But as like the fight between him and that gorilla and his dad and that gorilla, like it could have been at the end of any other movie, I would have been like, yeah, this is a badass kind of sequence, but this is just at the beginning where I was actually impressed with that. So it's a good
Yeah,
setup.
yeah. It's the villagers coming to no, it's bandits. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's Seven Samurai. It's another Seven Samurai movie. It's not Seven Samurai at all.
I know they had the setup for it, but the one thing I did miss from this movie is none of the apes had any guns because I guess they never figured out how to make more bullets or keep them around at least when Caesar was first.
Yeah, how do you manufacture bullets?
Exactly. So
Exactly.
that makes sense. So I was intrigued by the fact that they were using those what prodders or whatever the
Yeah, those
electrical
cattle
things.
prod things.
Yeah.
Which, and this is not a huge deal, but how do they power those? Where do they get those?
Yeah.
Did,
They
do
have
they just
William H. Macy somehow fix them up.
William
Has
H. Macy probably does some very basic, because he's a race trader, some very this movie is these species trade. These movies are full of those, man.
yeah.
You got the donkeys and war.
Yeah.
Those are the worst. Those are terrible, dude. Um,
Bastards.
Bastards. You got William H. Macy. Oh, you kind of get William H. Macy. I don't know if I had the options of okay, I can either help these apes or they can eat me. I
Well,
don't.
he kind of tries to bring more of like a philosophical, like fatalist attitude to
Mhm.
things to justify his reasoning, which I kind of understand. Like to him, I mean, in his eyes, what can we do to save the human race at this point? I don't really know. He's not probably aware of that underground bunker we see at the end.
No,
So,
he has no idea that there's other humans, that there's a large amount of other humans who can still
yeah,
speak, whom I assume just have some sort of immunity to the simian flu that
yeah,
um to the mutated simian flu that destroys the speech centers of the brain or the
yeah,
whatever's happening. Um it's all hand waved for, I don't need to and Dr. Fauci to pop in this movie and explain the simian flu to me. Yeah, this is the first post-pandemic Planet of the Apes. That was fun. And there's probably something thematic of being complicit in, I don't know if this was designed to be in the movie, but it doesn't have to for me to bring the theme to it. Being complicit in the destruction of the planet or the destruction of the human race. I don't know. I think of like if you're an ExxonMobil executive, the kind of logical hurdles you have to do to have that job. Or any job where you're have questionable ethics.
yeah.
And contributing because I think Exxon knew since the 70s that they were warming the planet, and they were just like, um, maybe it was them, maybe it was another company, um, things like that, and then how much can you do, and how much are you willing to give up, because how many people are willing to give up their creature comforts for, um, you know, helping out anything? Are people even able to put down cheeseburgers to help the planet? You know?
Yeah, I just want to know how he got so knowledgeable because clearly he has a collection of books that he's self-read enough,
Yeah, and
but there's
he
such a
has to.
limited, he can't just go to a library and pick whatever he wants. So I feel like his knowledge is a little too wide when it comes to history and conflict and stuff. I think it should have been a little more narrow based off of just the small amount of stuff that he had to work with.
It is, and he's pretty old. I mean, heck, how old was William H. Macy? Let me look that up real quick.
Okay.
William H. Macy's 74. Okay. So this guy, let's say
Looks pretty good for
74.
his age.
Yeah, he's got that adrenochrome, man. In this movie, he's been eating all those bananas. That potassium is really good.
Yeah.
Uh, I assume he came from some tribe of people who had done well transmitting the knowledge. And who's to say they didn't live near a library that they could just take all the books from? I don't know.
Yeah.
Books can last for 300 years. It depends on the conditions. I don't know how climate control works.
I did like the most of the books he had were fucking decrepit, so I did like that.
Yeah. What was the Kurt Vonnegut book he was reading?
You tell me, man.
Kurt Vonnegut. I've only read Slaughterhouse 5. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
You're more well read than I am. I mean, I'm reading an ET book right now, for fuck's sake.
That's fine. What's wrong with ET?
Nothing's wrong with ET. I'm just reading it for a bit.
Oh, it's Welcome to the Monkey House. Of course it is.
Oh, okay.
It's a collection of short stories. Okay. So I didn't know if there was some
So it really was just a joke.
Yeah. It was just a joke. That's all it is. Well, Vonnegut, he did write a lot. He had, especially toward the end of his life, sort of a fatalist view. Because he was a World War II veteran, and that played heavily. And he was really obsessed with the concept of time. So you have, time progressing post-apocalyptic setting, human evolution. These are all themes Vonnegut was big on. And then the fact that they picked that specific book that's funny. It's a good joke. A jungle jape, if you will.
I do think what interested me the most was that I think it was smart to have Caesar's burial at the beginning. At first, I was like, well, why would they show this just to connect it to the originals? Okay. But the clever way to say, okay, we're going to take Caesar and what he stood for, and we're going to appropriate it. The apes themselves are going to appropriate it in this tribe and make it like their kind of chant, their headstrong kind of ideal, if you will, to do what they're doing. And I was like, okay. And then once they started saying it, stuff in the name of Caesar, I was like, okay, that's fucked. And also an interesting way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and that's a theme that's been in the movie since the originals. Caesar's always, he's like Paul Atreides. He's like, what have I done? What have I created?
Yeah.
People are gonna use my name for holy wars.
Yeah.
That's never happened before.
And I like that I think I don't know what they would have done for the finale, but I feel like I wish they could have kept Proxima Caesar for like the next movie. I don't know. I feel like it might just be a problem of the trailers being misleading because the trailers really focused on Proxima Caesar and his settlement, and that was like the big hype of the trailers. And really, I'm cool with how it was in the movie. I like that the first half of this movie is just Noah on this adventure and this like kind of quiet exploration of the world and stuff like that before he starts to figure out what exactly is going on slowly but surely. Kind of like an RPG, I guess. But I feel like we get Proxima Caesar so late in the game and we don't get to really explore him as much as I'd liked.
I agree. I think he's an interesting villain. He's probably the most interesting character of the movie for me. Because he's an idealistic bastard. Who I guess he's utilitarian. He said he hated humans until he realized how useful they could be. And he does have that Roman because he's obsessed with Roman history. Despite I guess he thinks he can overcome the fall. He has that expansionist colonial mindset of like, we're going to conquer these people, but apes together strong. Even if you force them. Kind of George Bushy. If you're not like, with us, you're against us.
Yeah.
Or like Anakin.
Yeah.
I always get Anakin and George Bush confused.
Sure.
But no, he was definitely that. I think he was also portrayed well as being intelligent, but not overly intelligent, having his hubris. Proximus is Latin for next, by the way, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's why he's Proximus Caesar. Gonna flex that muscle. I'm gonna be like, yeah, dude, I can understand some Latin words.
And he really
I didn't get Latin back in school like Mr. Rushmore, but
Max
Rushmore, like Max Rushmore did. But
yeah. I do like that he seems to have relied on how much info he's been taught by a human. So that's interesting contrast.
Yeah, he's hypocritical.
Yeah.
Well, you need an enemy to unite a people. That's the sad thing,
Yeah.
So humans are an easy scapegoat for that.
Totally. And I like the idea of it being kind of like the original, like it's a different setting of apes discovering that this human can talk, but it's done in a completely different execution. I wish the girl had a little more interesting of a personality. That's a complaint we both share because that's like when we came out of the film, we like didn't talk about anything because we're like, well, let's save it for the cast. But I was like, we can say a couple things, and you mentioned that, and that was one thing I definitely agreed with.
Right, and I think it's the script. Doesn't give her a lot to do. Even though I think the movie it's a little long. I feel like it could be trimmed down a bit. I would have to see it again to be like, okay, what sequences would I trim down?
I actually like the way it takes its time in the first half.
It does take its time in the first half, and
I was totally cool with that. I know you were busy thinking about how it could be implemented in Zelda, but
I
yeah,
know
I was just soaking it up. Like, yeah, this is different. This is cool, and this is a stupid nitpick, but I don't I don't like her outfit. I think it looks like some 2010s shit that you would wear when you're like going to the store. It just doesn't fit. Like, I know the
Hey, it looks like
material.
when she's going to the store.
I don't know. She looks like she's wearing skinny jeans and a tank top, and it just doesn't fit to me aesthetically. I'm not saying wearing a loincloth like those wild humans they encounter, but I'm saying like they could have given her like a cooler, more appropriate post-apocalyptic outfit. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just
it does seem like she found an old H&M and then appropriated that.
it does
I
have
guess
the
they're
right
trying to say she
texture.
is more modern though. She's wearing more modern clothing. I don't know if she was supposed to be undercover as a feral human though. I don't want
No,
to see her all sexed up like Nova in the first movie
no,
either.
that would be stupid. But that's a good joke though, because when they say we'll call her Nova, you and I are probably both like, why? But then he's like, that's what they were all called. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I made an audible kind of groan in
Yeah.
the theater. I was like, ugh,
And then they
like we're doing
quickly
this
like,
again, we're calling somebody else Nova again.
yeah, no, they
But no.
quickly changed that up, which was a
There's
good
a
joke.
few I don't know. There are some uh old references. It's nice that we had the chasing them on horseback and the inversion of she calls out. I don't know if I
Yeah.
needed it to have that scene exactly that, them chasing them through the reeds like in the other movie. But and a lot of people who see this have not seen the old movies and will not watch a movie that old.
I thought it was great to have a sequence like that again and have it be kind of an inverse thing. I really enjoyed it because as soon as I heard those old horns come in, I was like, okay, yeah, this feels nice because it feels like a mix between the original and the prequel series in just in a lot of the right ways for me personally.
And
So
it's not member berries. It's
yeah,
you for the
no.
plot.
And it wasn't like yeah. And that was clever for her to yell Noah, which is kind of close to no, but it's his name, so it works. It totally worked for me. Yeah, and it wasn't just I did think that maybe the scarecrows were a bit much.
The
Like,
scarecrows were on the nose. And also I was watching War the other night and the scarecrows are on there because dude, Colonel Kurtz, the is or whatever his name is, Woody Allen, not Woody Allen, Jesus,
Woody
Woody
Allen.
Harrelson.
That's
Woody
a whole
Allen
different
as
movie.
that character would be completely different.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you gotta fight back, and I don't know. I don't do a good Woody Allen impression. I'm not an impressionist. But
She's
he,
only
he had a
13. Anyway.
he, that Nova chick is looking kind
Yeah,
of attractive.
God.
Uh,
He's really coming into her own.
yeah, that I kind of went
Okay.
Christopher Walken on that. I will stop that.
Yeah.
Woody Allen, what a ugh.
Yeah. Welcome to
um,
our Woody Allen cast. No,
no,
not really.
not really.
I will say Radio Days is a good movie, but
I can't watch that guy's movies anymore.
yeah, I
I
know.
only watched a couple, like 2 or 3 of his movies before I learned about that. So he was spoiled for me pretty quickly. You know,
Yeah.
he was spoiled for me between my first and second viewing of Annie Hall. He was like, okay, well, this movie's weird now. Um, not as weird, but
That's why, yeah, that's like you can separate art and the artist, but it's hard when it's fucking creepy. That's why I won't watch Leon the Professional. I'm not going to do it.
yeah, I once
As
I
much
learned.
as I love fucking Fifth Element, I have no interest in continuing Luc Besson's filmography. It's just how it is.
Even after Valerian was a
Yeah,
masterpiece,
what a fucking slog. What a loss of that's one of my like biggest sci-fi loss of like potential to me.
it is. It is a big loss of potential.
Yeah, well,
I remember they put Rihanna in the poster, and the girl I was dated at the time wanted to go see it. We saw it. She was like, Rihanna was only in one scene. I'm like, yeah. Why did you think she would be in several scenes? That's what they do. They put Rihanna on the movie for one scene. She gets paid $1 million in a day, and then they put her on the poster.
yeah. What a load. Anyway. uh
There's not a ton of comedy in this movie. There's some good comedy. It's when Caesar says shit after learning the word shit from May as
Yeah.
they're timing up, and she's like, "Yes, that's a proper time to say this word." That's funny. Rocca, dropping all of his fruit or whatever he had in his hand, and his jaw dropping when he hears May speak a complete sentence is pretty good.
Yeah, totally.
And you get a nice inverse of everything.
And yeah, I just like it's a shame that Rocket died. It was cool though that there was
But I didn't stay for this part. After the credits, you can hear an orangutan roar. I don't know why they say it's an orangutan. I don't know if that sounds different or if they got primatologists to analyze the after credit scene of this freaking movie. So, because he washes away in the river, and as a guy who's watched a lot of movies, I think, well, is he just going to show up and Han Solo it in the third act and come help people out? But no, he's dead.
I respected that they didn't do that at the
Yeah,
least.
they didn't do. Yes,
Even if I was disappointed because I really liked his character. Now, the ending shit, that doesn't mean shit to me because they did the same thing with Koba in the fucking second one. And even though he was dead, he didn't come back.
right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll Palpatine him and just like
Somehow
somehow Rocket has returned.
uh, yeah. My favorite joke that I've seen on Twitter this week, though, is like, okay, now they should do a chill Planet of the Apes movie. They should do a funny one. And it's usually like a gif of like an ape like drinking a beer or like chilling or smoking a blunt or something. It's like, yeah,
They should have like a teen sex comedy, like
or
a
just like a hangout movie that's just apes smoking weed, chilling, talking, hanging out, dude, playing Tony Hawk, whatever.
I don't know, the
But
the
that's how
Banana
I felt. That's
Breakfast
how I felt
Club.
about Rocco. Like Rocco was just kind of hanging out and was intrigued by Noah's plight and was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
you do have
I'll,
more of a hangout.
I'll come along." It's whatever. I'm not
I mean, I'll
doing
watch whatever they put this in. I was thinking they need to go more futuristic and have like Normandy with apes, like they're shooting, like they're launching artillery and calling in airstrikes.
it. They don't have that technology yet.
Yeah, but I want them to have like full like mid 20th century
They didn't
technology.
even have that technology in the original movie, all the way
Yeah,
in the future.
yeah, I'm saying. I almost hope these end up like closer to the novel where it's like real, like pretty much modern technology. Because
Yeah,
they say they have plans for up to 4 more of these. The
five.
producers, 5. I think
Yeah,
this is one of the 5.
if they're gonna do that, yeah, I say fuck it. Forego trying to meet up with the first one. Just go crazy. Let it, yeah, like you said, like have some ape warfare. So obviously they're gonna build up to something with versus humans. Probably, humans are now able to communicate with other humans. I did like that aspect of that was her whole plight was getting that thing that helps operate the satellite dishes or whatever, and they are able to connect with other humans. So there's survivors elsewhere. And I did like that she wasn't as you kind of thought her character was going to go like an understanding of apes, but really she was just focus on her own interests the whole time because the best detail is at the end when she's talking to Noah and she has that gun behind her back that she could have used at any point and she puts it away. I thought that was a great inclusion to say, this isn't because I really thought they were just going to be like, oh, we see eye to eye, we can be, equals, but
No.
she's totally not.
Is there room on the planet for more than one dominant species?
There should be,
There should be.
but
Would you
yeah.
like to live in a world with highly sentient apes?
If we're sharing shit and hanging out, yeah, dude, I'd chill with apes, dude. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Even if they bite your nose off?
No, they would be just as intelligent and domesticated as we are.
Yeah. If you don't want to fight them, they'll mess you up.
But I mean, we fight people for worse or less shit than that, just having a different fucking religion, really. So fuck it.
Yeah, I don't think we can get on. If we can't even get along with humans having different skin colors, I don't think a different species entirely we get along with. Did you know
Yeah.
that Planet of the Apes is a metaphor for racism? Did you know that? Did you know that? I'm really
But
smart.
yeah, I'm just glad that she used them for her just so she could get into the bunker and then she wasn't focused on trying to save the relations between human and ape.
But she did save and that was an important character moment for her. She did blow her cover and basically teach Proximus about guns because he was like, "You can go if there's more of those. I don't even want to fight you."
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Imagine you've never seen a gun before, and just you're
That's
like,
why I like that when she first shoots the gun, there's like a moment where the apes don't even know what to think. It's just that crazy sound. They're like, what the fuck was that, dude?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I imagine indigenous people when Europeans
Proximus
came.
probably knew what guns, at least the idea of how they were described to him, probably by William H. Macy's character, I think.
Maybe he was like, "Are there more of those?" It seems
Probably
like
an
they're surprised.
probably it sounded pretty abstract to him when it maybe explained or something, but
Yeah, I don't know how abstract it shoots a projectile real far. Um,
yeah.
I do have some stupid niggles like with
Yeah.
the whole this last act of the movie of like, where did she get gunpowder? They have gunpowder. Like she just grabs some. She finds explosives.
Yeah,
Um,
where does the gunpowder come from?
and have they been using that to build? Did they learn how to make gunpowder? Did William H. Macy learn how to? I mean, and we've had gunpowder for thousands of years before we had shot projectiles with it. Um, and some of they climb down into the bunker and she sets that like detonation charge or whatever right there. Um, and I guess part of it was like, I guess nobody bothered that detonator while it was there. Nobody was like, "What is this?" And played with it.
Yeah.
And then it was right outside the door. I guess she didn't have a long enough line to run it, but I'm almost like, why did you come out the front door instead of going back the way you came and sneaking back down? Was that not an option? Um, there's some little things like that. Just the whole plan. I was
Sure.
like, I don't know how good of a plan this is, or if there's enough water. Has the coastline changed over the 300 years? Was this thing always submerged? This door always submerged in water, or would have been submerged in water? Uh, things like that. Not a
Sure.
huge deal. Not a
Well,
deal breaker. Did take
my
me.
argument is that climate change would have slowed down significantly after humans went away.
Yeah,
So
be
it probably
largely.
would have halted any coastline
But there's
significant.
still erosion and stuff.
Yeah, there's erosion, but 300 years isn't that crazy, I don't think.
Geologically, no. It's a tick of the clock.
But I mean, even just like year one of COVID, we saw a rapid like change in like environmental reversal, which of course changed when we got back to doing stuff. But there was like fish like swimming in the canals in Italy again and stuff like that. Like it was like shit, man. We really are fucking up this planet,
Oh,
dude.
so bad.
But
Thanos,
yeah,
Thanos did nothing wrong.
so yeah, that does it's I'm able to not be bothered too much about the gunpowder thing, but it is an interesting question. Like, where did they get this? Where does I wish we could have learned more about William H. Macy's clan, wherever he came from, and how.
Yeah, he dies real quick,
Yeah,
kind of out of nowhere. It's just like it's just to establish May's character of like she's willing to do whatever to get the job done,
yeah.
and that the whole ape not kill ape thing has not made it to human society. And I think it's important because this is obviously setting up war for the Planet of the Apes too.
Yeah, it
Just
really is
more,
that stepping stone, just like Rises of the first trilogy or the
yeah, of
original
like
trilogy.
setting up more human ape conflict. I think on a grander scale.
Yeah, totally.
Because the conflicts we have, in Dawn and War, I mean, they're all pretty small scale, just at one location. This could be a potential like societal, not a world war necessarily. Maybe I don't know. They have satellite communications now,
That's the
even
thing.
though
Yeah, they're building towards that, I think.
yeah, even though their satellite dishes are so old and decrepit and have panels missing. I'm like, how are these working? That's just the art department. I don't, again, not a huge deal. I'm not a telecommunications engineer, so
And
I
also,
don't.
there's that advancement on the apes end. They've discovered that telescope, and so they're gonna have to kind of find out more, like realize, oh, we're a planet. These are also planets. These are stars, stuff like that. I don't know. There's
Do
gonna
you
be
think we're gonna get full spacefaring?
no. I
Because
just think there's gonna be kind of an intellectual leap, a bit.
mhm.
Well, maybe like find somebody that can read words, English and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Do you
because
think
like
we're gonna keep with Noah in the next movie though?
yeah, totally.
I think we're
Yeah,
keeping these characters for at least one more movie. You
yeah,
know, if they make
totally.
another one, which as of time, uh, we'll see. Right now, this is made 135 million global on a $160 million
On the
budget. So
first, yeah, on the first weekend, yeah,
on the
totally.
first weekend, so there's potential for this to
Twice
make.
as much as the Fall Guy.
That's interesting. The Fall Guy.
Lot,
My mom wants to see Fall Guy. That's people who are Ryan Gosling fans. I'll see it at some point, maybe.
you
Um,
know.
it's not a high priority. I don't know. What are you doing Sunday? Might see it then.
I will say one thing that I understand why they didn't, and obviously it was there. Wes Ball talked about the influence there, and obviously if they want to do their own thing, that's fine. But as they were approaching that bunker at the end, I was expecting it to be like a reveal of the Alpha and Omega bomb of some sort, maybe like a reboot version of that, or like maybe like introduce the idea that these nuclear humans are kind of maybe telepathic or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
But
feel like they wouldn't go full telepathy. I feel like they might have at some point callbacks to that with mutant humans or like a cult of humans.
they don't have to be like full on psychedelic crazy, but like it would be interesting. They introduced that shit in the Godzilla franchise. They can do it in this. It doesn't bother me. I
Oh,
think it.
yeah, it's
I,
completely.
I I like it to go a little wonky sci-fi a little bit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
talking apes for fuck's sake. I
I,
could.
I'm still amazed at how well people accept talking apes, but also I was talking with my roommate. Like apes with guns is a compelling concept.
Yeah. And that's the best part is like in the next one, we'll get back to the apes with guns aesthetic.
We
So
are. I did like this movie, but I guess maybe the biggest criticism I have of this movie is like I'm more interested in what the next movie will be. I'm
yeah,
more interested in what this movie sets up than what this movie did on its own.
sure.
Not
I'm
that I didn't
also
enjoy
that
it.
way with Rise, though. I'm also that way with The Force Awakens, but that didn't pay off.
No, that didn't pay off either. Yeah, that's the ultimate version of that, where you're interested in what it sets up and then it just
Yeah.
doesn't go anywhere.
I just remember getting out of The Force Awakens. My first thought was like, damn, now I have to wait 2 more years. And then, whatever. We're not going to go into that.
We'll
But
see. It'll probably be at least 3 before we see another
I
apes.
think
7.
I I would like to rewatch this soon because I did enjoy it, but I feel like a second watch would be complimentary to get a full cement on my feelings. Overall feelings though, I did enjoy it, and I always enjoy the Apes movies if Tim Burton doesn't touch them, and as long as they're to me at least fresh enough and interesting enough to be different. And so far, all of them have been different in their own ways while still making their mark. So I totally enjoyed it. But yeah, it does. But that's the fun of sci-fi movies, thinking, well, what could come next after this?
Yeah, the natural progression of the technology and
Yeah,
everything. I'm not rushing to the theater to see this again, but I could see it again.
I'm gonna see it again within this next week, I think. Um, who knows? I do like the payoff of Noah having the eagle finally come to him, and then they all gang up on Proximus.
Oh yeah, that's a cool movie death. That's a cool villain death. If we're gonna have it being torn apart by eagles, you know.
Yeah. Also, like I like that he's kind of like shit on tormented by this eagle for some of the movie, just for being I don't know why, because the eagle just is a prick, I guess.
Yeah. He's sort of just I don't know if it's weird with animals. You got to vibe with them. It's all
Yeah.
about vibe. People don't get that. I'm
Well,
good
it's
with
also
animals
like
because you got to vibe with them.
the eagle could sense his character progression. Is like, oh, once you get to this point, I can chill with you, but
Yeah,
right
it is
now,
sort of like what does he do to attract the eagle? I
yeah.
don't know. But he hangs out. They have this weird symbiotic relationship. Falconry's cool. It's a real thing. They use falcons to like hunt mice and stuff in Dubai.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
imagine that was your job to train falcons and just hang out in Dubai and have them hunt mice and stuff. Be dope.
I wonder if they have to train the cats in Disneyland that hunt mice, or if they just do it automatically.
Yeah. Cats will hunt mice.
I know it's just interesting, but Wes Ball. So, what do you want from Wes Ball now that you've seen this for the Zelda movie?
For the Zelda movie, I don't know. I've been racking my brain thinking of the best way to do it. I feel like the safe bet. I'm hoping Nintendo's a little less safe than they are with the Mario movie. I feel like it's going to be a very
I
safe
think they will
movie.
be a little
I,
safe
I
or less safe. I think. I
yeah.
hope.
I feel like that it's going to be kind of like the first act of this. You're going to have Link in a village. I don't think they're going to do like an Ocarina of Time cast two Links, child and adult. I don't think they're going to have time travel
That would be.
at least in that first movie. Um, so, God, it's hard.
We
to
could
think
have had a
so.
hint if he would have named his favorite Zelda instead of saying I don't think I can really say. That could have given us maybe a
Because he knows
clue.
what it is. I think it's going to follow like well, here's the question. Is it going to follow the older games, more like Link to the Past, that level of story? Or is it going to be more Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom inspired, where things are like a little post apocalyptic? I have a feeling it's going to lead toward just like the typical, like high fantasy, also Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, all their stories and flashbacks, which is kind of annoying anyway and doesn't work
Yeah.
as it could. We'll see, and we'll see how much meddling there is from Miyamoto and the like.
I hope they just get right. Like I hope they kind of in the first 10 minutes kind of get the village stuff out of the way. Like this is Link, we kind of know who this is, what's going on.
Well, he's such an archetypal character, and that's
Yeah.
the question of like, what do you do with his character? And I think you have it kind of like Noah. I bet he will be like not he'll talk, but he'll be sort of a little stoic. But maybe he'll be a little more like Wind Waker Link, who's a little more childlike. Who's not actually. If we're getting into the lore, not the bloodline descendant of the hero of time, but takes up the mantle after finding all the Triforce pieces. So I think we're going to do that. There's going to be a call to adventure. He's going to get caught up in some stuff. The princess.
I'm most interested in the tone, what kind of tone they're going to strike.
The tone. I mean, I hope they really go like high fantasy. I really hope it's kind of whimsical. I want to see all the different races. I would love to see some like puppetry. Like Jim Henson-y sort of stuff. I don't think we're going to see that necessarily.
Tingle.
I don't think Tingle. I don't know. Tingle. I hope it's not too much of like, oh, here's a bunch of stuff in the background. Here's Tingle in the background.
Yeah.
I don't think Tingle would be.
But either I do like the humor in the Zelda games, so I hope it still captures that, and without being like quirky or quippy or anything like that.
No, I think the humor in this movie is right. There could be a bit more. I think it'll be more lighthearted than this movie.
I think the next Apes will be a little bleaker, a little darker.
Oh, I think it'll be bleaker in this. They're setting up some major conflict.
Yeah.
What are they going to call it? We have Kingdom?
I don't know. They can't do once they get to this big escalation, they can't do war. So what are they going to
World War Ape. I'm telling you.
Dude, if they called it World War Ape, I'd be camping in the parking lot. Oh man. Now you said that. Now my hopes are going to be dashed when it's not called World War Ape.
Yeah, dude. Well,
man.
That's why we need to make a fan film.
Yeah.
With our budget.
With cheapo Party City costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else you want to say about that or Zelda?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the next one, and wonder who's going to direct it. I think Wes Ball will be busy with Zelda. This has made me not completely like I said in the last time, like if I'm not in the next cast, it's because I killed myself because Kingdom sucked, and I'm still here. So
that's the thing. He is, I believe, going to stay on as a creative force and a producer of the next one, even if he doesn't direct it. So
he seems like a real one. He seems like one of us.
Crafting, because he's helped craft kind of the direction of where things are going to go. So I'm cool with that. But if they're going to pick a new director for the next one, that's the interesting part. Like, who would take on and do another one?
Maybe it'll be Kino Cowboy.
No, I'm good.
You wouldn't direct an Apes film?
No, I like to be a enjoyer and not like a meddler.
I don't know. I think, I'm not even a director, so this is all just like fantasy, but I'm like, if there's a franchise I could add something to, I feel like Planet of the Apes is such a fertile and broad idea, you wouldn't be boxed in like you would with something like a Marvel or Star Wars. But that's why it works as a franchise. That's why it's still around.
Yeah, if it doesn't follow the lore of the originals, then yeah, because if you don't, then beneath the Planet of the Apes, the world is destroyed. So you can only do so much.
And there's thoughts of, because there's that newspaper headline or whatever of astronauts and rise of like, will astronauts come back and land in full circle? A lot of people have talked about that.
But also, I guess battle. I don't know if it's a full circle or if the timeline is now changed because of Caesar at the end of 4 and 5, kind of like changing his ideas on humans a bit. So I don't know.
Time travel's wonky. We haven't had any time travel in this series yet.
Yeah. But we don't need it. It's only 300 years since humans went away, so we don't need it yet or at all. But
yeah, we need apes in a DeLorean. That's what we need.
Yeah, we need Marty McApe. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's go.
Apes on hoverboards.
Or how creepy would it be if we got one and it was like this pseudo 50s all-American society, but it's apes. It's like hyper 50s.
Apes, suburb of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, suburb of the Planet of the Apes. Now we're talking.
I burnt my roast.
Yeah.
Laugh tracks. It's like Gordy's Home. It's like that in Nope. It's like it's like that fake sitcom they had.
That's true.
Let's give me the next one.
Anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody. Next week on the cast, I actually forgot. So look forward to whatever that is. This is our 4th Planet of the Apes cast. If this is your first one you're tuning in for, we have one on the original film, another one on the sequels, the original sequels, and then we have one on the prequel trilogy. So go check out those. We also have several new video essays you can check out. One on Kevin Smith's shitty film, which you might be a subscriber from. And then another one I just put out on summer movies. We have a tie-in film called The Patrician's Guide to Kino. I have a book I wrote that you can buy in the description below. Scott's a comic. He's a comic from Little Rock. So if you live in Arkansas and you want to see one of the boys from this show live, you can.
Yeah, at Scott K Comedy on Instagram. I got something at the North Little Rock in a couple weeks. So
there you go, balling out. All right. So thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.